The milchama is continuing. And I just recall a younger man back in the Gulf War told me that he's unable to tolerate the pressure. It's impossible. His wife is going crazy, running in and out of the sealed rooms. I don't know if the people remember those days. And I said to him, I'm going today to Reb Chaim Kanievsky. So we come to Reb Chaim. Reb Chaim told him, to make a long story short, we don't have the time for the whole conversation. Reb Chaim told him, As kibalti me'chazenish. By the way, this is a source of Reb Chaim. People used to go to the Chazani, to Reb Chaim. He's telling him he has an operation on his leg, and his operation on his... Anytime he told them, so he told them, as ich schreibe wegen dem in lang, that Iraq is Bovel, and Bovel, Verdamont, is mentioned in Tanach 242 times. He says, the younger man was the given Fardir, the person who was here prior to you, said that the American president had gesagt, as he geht seiner Milchome, lechol apoches 8 chodoshim. That's what he said. No, sagt er doch 242 Mal steht das Wort Bovel in Tanach. Jeder Tag, das zu lernen dort, der Perek, was sie wird amon der Bovel, und der rein ist gar nicht passiert. He says, learn the Perek where it says the word Bovel. And I heard from Reb Chaim a couple of times, you know, you told him learn this, learn that, and that was the Eitzah, that was the school, and people came back and didn't understand what he was saying. Chazanish said, told me, getroffen a Yerushalmi, as if rod im sheboim olav isurim, you should be oisek beoisa inyan that the isurim boim olav. So tonight, we'll deal a little bit with Chevel Azo, as even time geleint in the parsha wegen Azo. We'll einmal for allemol, it's really a topic for a few shiurim, but we'll see how much we try to cover to do where is the war going on. Efshat zaynas gula am yoisek binyonei ha-mokim shemimonu bos will be some kind of a schus for everyone. In Bris ben Abesorim, which we're going to learn about this forthcoming Shabbos, steht a posuk, Bayoim ahu koras Hashem es Avrom bris lemoir lezaracho nosati es oretz hazois. Minhar Mitzrayim had a nehor agodoil nehar pras. What is Nehar Mitzrayim? So machlekes rishonim. Volts machlekes rishonim, probably machlekes hamidrashim. If it's the Yehoshua, the Nehar Mitzrayim, some rishonim wants to say that way, but most rishonim hold the Nehar Mitzrayim as a shita Saramban, Rabbeinu Saadia Goyen, Rabbi Shteri Aparchi in Kafter Leferach, and others, that Vadi El Arish, which is some kind of a river in the southern of the Gaza Strip, this is Nehar Mitzrayim. So Eretz Yisrael HaMuvtachas is from Nehar Pras in the north until Nachal Mitzrayim, Nehar Mitzrayim on the south. This is the northern and the southern borders. We come to Sefer Shmois in Parshas Mishpatim. I did not bring the pasuk. Steht v'samti es gvulcho miyam suf ad yam plishtim. The Torah describes the borders on the eastern and the western end, Miyam Suf from the Red Sea in the southeast, Ad Yam Plishtim. Yam Plishtim is the Mediterranean. It's called Yam HaGodel. It's called Yam Plishtim, and soon we'll see why it's called Yam Plishtim. Basically, the Goyen Bekama Mekoyim speaks out the Eretz Yisrael's Gvulois, the biblical Eretz Yisrael, the Gvulois, surrounded with water. In the north is Nehar Pras. In the south is Nehar Mitzrayim. In the east is Yam Suf. and throughout east, going all the way up north, we're going through Yam haMelech and going up to Yam Kineres, as we see in the Psukim in Parshas Maseh. And on the west, to Gvul Yam V'hoyo Lochem HaYam HaGodol, or as it's called in Parshas Mishpotim, Yam Plishtim. So we're surrounded by water. Eretz Yisrael, HaMikrois, is surrounded by water. Aza, Chevel Aza, where it's called in Tanach, it's called Chevel Aza. If you look in the Psukim in Bamidbar at the end, you have it in front of you. At the end of Parshas Maseh, steht, Daber b'nei Yisrael v'amarto aleim. This is in Arva Smoyov. This tzivui is given already on the 40th year prior to crossing the Yard. The Bnei Yisrael standing in the 41st Masa in Arvoi Smoyov al Yarden Yerichoi, and all they do is they have to cross the Yarden in order to end Eretz Yisrael. Steht in Torah, Daber b'nei Yisrael v'amarto aleim ki atem oivim mesayadem l'Eretz Knan v'hoirashtem es ha'oretz v'yashavtem bo. What is v'hoirashtem es ha'oretz v'yashavtem bo? Okay, ki lochem nosati es ha'oretz loreshes oiso v'yisnachaltem es ha'oretz begoiral lemishpechoiseichem. Shitas HaRamban Yedua, and we spoke about it here many times. Ramban has in Sefer HaMitzvahs, Mitzvahs Eser Sheshochach HaRambam, the fourth mitzvah that the Rambam forgot according to the Minyan HaMitzvahs of the Ramban is Mitzvahs Eser Daled. You can take a look. Shenitztavenu loreshes ha'oretz asher nosa nokei lizborach v'yis'alo la v'yiseinu l'Avrohom Yitzchok v'Yankev v'loi na'azveno b'yad zuloseinu min ha'umois. Okay, oy lishmomo. The Ramban learns pshat in the posuk v'yirishtem oiso v'yashavtem bo. Steht in Ramban loi. Okay, steht in Ramban loi na'azveno b'yad zuloseinu min ha'umois. Okay, this is v'yirishtem oiso oy lishmomo v'yashavtem bo v'hu omoroi lohem v'yirashtem es ha'oretz v'yashavtem bo ki lochem nosati es ha'oretz loreshes oiso v'yisnachaltem es ha'oretz upiret oiso lohem b'mitzvah zo kulo b'gvuleyo u'meitzoreyo kemo she'omar voyu hara emoir ve'el kol shcheinu ba'arolo b'har b'shfeilu b'negev b'choif hayom shel yoniach mimenu mokim. Ramban learns clearly and precisely, unlike the Shitas HaRambam Bazman Hazeh, that the mitzvah of Kibush Eretz Yisrael is a double mitzvah. The Yerishtem Oiso is the Yerusha Shalei Nazveno, that's the Bailis, Shalei Nazveno B'yad Ha'umois. The Yeshavtem Bo, you're supposed to develop. The Ramban's Loshen HaTorah Lahafricho Uleshachlelo. That's the Loshen HaRambam, or the Loshen HaRamban, or the Loshen HaRamban here in front of us in Sefer HaMitzvahs, when the Ramban says, Shaloi na'azveno lishmomo, you can't let it go, you have to go ahead, conquer, capture Eretz Yisrael. The Ramban learns, Basman says, Mitzvah Sesam in Atayr of Kibush Haaretz. After there is a mitzvah of the Rambam Shittas, Basman is only with the Rabbanon. So Machlekes, what is the Rambam Shitta? The Goyen says it's also Doraisa, but it's not a mitzvah chiyumis, it's a mitzvah kiyumis, and we spoke about it on the shiur and Yehoshua here more than once. After the tzivui to be yoresh and to be yoshev in Eretz Yisrael, it says, what is the gvulois? Look at the psukim. Vayedaber Hashem tzavod bnei Yisrael v'amata alem ki atem boim el ha'oretz Knan v'zois ha'oretz asher tipu lochem benachlo v'hoyo lochem. This is what's interesting to us. We're not going through all the borders. V'hoyo lochem pe'as negev, the Thavum border. Mimidbar tzin al yad edoim v'hoyo lochem gvul negev miktzei yam haMelech kedmo. Now, when the Torah describes the southern border of Eretz Yisrael, we go into the south side of the Yam haMelech, which is on the eastern coast of Eretz Yisrael. Yam haMelech is Yericho. That's basically the Klal Yisrael and Avei Smoyev where they cross the Yarden. So you go south of Yam haMelech, gvul negev miktzei yam haMelech kedmo. And the Torah takes you through a journey minegev lemailo lemale akrovim Ve'ovar tzino, tzino means midbar tzin. Ve'hoyu tois oitzov minegev lekodesh barneo. Ve'yatzeh chatzar adar ve'ovar atzmoino ve'nosov agvul me'atzmoin nachal o Mitzrayim ve'hoyu tois oitzov hayom. Basically, if you know the map, and we don't have it in front of us, you are taking Miyam ad Yam, Miyam Suf, which is southern, a little bit more south, between Yam haMelech and Yam Suf on the east coast, and you go throughout the southern coast of Eretz Yisrael until Nachal Mitzrayim, to its Oisav Hayom, until the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, we will get to it. Let's just, it's a very good question. It's the northern of Yam, the northern port of Yam Suf. So the Torah says Miyam ad Yam and Miyam Suf ad Yam Plishtim. That's what the Torah says. The pasuk we read in Parshas Mishpatim, and we're going to see this. Yam Suf is a little problematic in the Gvulis, but in the Gvulis in Parshas Masa he says southern of Yam haMelech, Male Akrovim, Midbar Tzin, and Atzmoino, and we're going all the way to Nachal Mitzrayim. If we look in Sefer Yehoshua, and we look in the borders between all the Shvatim, we learned it here. It says, Eile hanachalois asher nichalu Elozar HaKohen v'Yeshua benu v'roi she'ovet lamata b'nei Yisrael b'goyro b'shiloi lifnei Hashem Pesach ol Moed v'yichalu mikhalek es ha'oretz. Okay? Coming in to Eretz Yisrael, they made a goyro, and each shevet received its proportionate piece of land where it's supposed to be. And the Gemara, I mean, we did it many shiurim, how did it go? But Lemaise, there was a goyrol, and each shevet received his own. Now, mitzvahs hatluyos ba'oretz, most mitzvahs hatluyos ba'oretz were not chal bish'as bia, only la'achar Yerusha v'yeshiva, and shteitoch in bizman, look at the Gemara in Erchin Daf Lamed Beis, ukrosem droyu ba'oretz, l'chol yeshvea, bizman shekol yeshvea aleo, ולא בזמן שגולו מקצוסם. יוכל אויו עולה והם מעורב עם שבט בנימין ביהודה ושבט ביהודה בבנימין, יוכל יהיוי ולנויק תלמודים על לכל ישביה, בזמן שישביה כתיקון ולא בזמן שמעורבים. Bottom line, after Klal Yisrael conquers and finishes doing the kibush of Eretz Yisrael, there is a mitzvah of Chalukah. The Chalukah is Sheva Shekibshu v'Sheva Shechilku. Afterwards, each shevet got once beforehand, they were mingled, they were called Meurovim. Once they were separated and each shevet received his own corporation limits, then all the mitzvahs, Yovel, all the mitzvahs, there's some mitzvahs Atluyos Boretz, which as soon as they walked in, the Sugya Kedushin of Lamed Zayin, but most mitzvahs Atluyos Boretz is only L'achar Yerusha v'Yeshiva, which means after each shevet receives his own. Each shevet receives his own gvulois ha'aretz. Who receives the Gaza Strip? Steht befeirische psukim in Yehoshua. Look at the psukim. Ve'zois nachalas mate bnei Yehuda lemishpachtom. It says Vayakim, first Yeshua. Look at reference number 7. Vayakim Yehoshua mikodesh barneo ve'at azo. Yeshua conquers Gaza. Then, Vesnachalas mate bnei Yehuda lemishpechoisom, Ashdod bnoiseo v'chatzereyo, Azo bnoiseo v'chatzereyo. The Ashdod and Azo bnoiseo v'chatzereyo, its peripheries and neighborhoods, Ad Nachal Mitzrayim v'Ayam HaGodol v'Gvul. So Yehuda, who sits in the south of Eretz Yisrael, south, central south and southwest, with him he had Shevet Shimon, because Shimon really didn't get his own Nachal. Shimon dwelled within Shevet Yehuda. Actually, the one who sat on the bottom is more Shimon. Shimon, the families of Shimon sat more in the southern part of Yehuda. But Yehuda is the one who conquered and received Gaza as part of the Nachal. If you look in Kaftei V'Ferach, Kaftei V'Ferach was a Rishon, and he lived in the Tkufa of the Rishonim, and he is the history book and the geography book of all mitzvahs Atluyos Boretz. It was called the B'Shtei Aparchi, and he went for a tour to Eretz Yisrael, and he writes about his tour. So if you take a look in Kafte Vaferach, in Perik Yud Aleph, he writes, Me'ashkelon, he walked. He didn't have a train, he didn't have a car. Me'ashkelon la'azo, ledorim sholei shois. It took 3 hours to walk from Ashkelon to Gaza. We know today from Ashkelon to Gaza is approximately 12, 13 kilometers. Depends which part of Ashkelon, which part of Gaza. But it's 3-hour walk. That's what he describes. Umi azo ledorim kishtei shois. There's another yesh ir ushmo dorim v'ktsas koirim lo dorin v'yiniskeres b'maseches soito. The Gemara comes alone and says in Soito that there was the Gemara in Soito Avrohom with Beis Rabbi Lozo beYitzchok ish kfar dorim. So during the time of the Mishnah, we had Jewish settlements in Gaza. And by the way, this Jewish settlement continued throughout the years. The last time Jews left Gaza was in Tov Reish Peites, 95 years ago. If you want to know that the mechaber of the mechaber of the Kori Ben Oilom, Rabbi Yisrael Najara, he was a Geisa Paitan, he was the Rov of Gaza. Schreibt auf sein Piyutim Harav Lekihilas Azo. He lived there, Rabbi Yisrael Najara. Whether or not they put his Piyutim in Cherem, it's a different discussion. But was mezingt Freitag Tanach Ribono Shel Olam, these melodies he writes in the Akdome was all composed in Gaza. So mezingt your Ribono Olam, but the Rebbe auf dem Tisch soll man wissen, wo man das gemacht, dem Lidl, dem Nigen, dem Kor Ribono Olam. Okay, I would like to talk about today. Let's take a little journey through the Torah. Avrohom Avinu steht after the Maise of the Afichas Loit, Vayelech Avrohom haloich v'nosoya haNegba. What's the Negev? Avrohom really dwells in Beersheva. Beersheva is east to Gaza, east to Gaza. And then it says, Vayiso misham Avrohom, okay, steht Vayiso misham Avrohom, Arzo haNegev, Vayeshev ben Kodesh uBershur, Vayogor bigrar. Avrohom Avinu goes to Gra. Why does he go to Gra? If we look through, we have a shtickle due diligence about Avrohom. Avrohom was in Shechem. Avrohom was in Loin Moireh. Avrohom was in Beis Kel. Avrohom was in the Ai. Avrohom was in the Loilim Mamre. All those 5 places state Avrohom made a Mizbeach Lashem. He went to Gra and didn't make a Mizbeach. Why is Avrohom moving from Beersheva to Gra? Okay. Now, he is in the Negev. Obviously, he's moving from the eastern part of the Negev to the western part of the Negev. Why is he going to Gra? Yitzchok also comes to Gra. It says, Vayeshev Yitzchok beGrar, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him he's going to Mitzrayim as a Rov, and he stops off in Gror, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, Gur ba'oretz azois. Not only did Yitzchok stop there, he was Chofer there be'erois, he was Zeireya, and he planted there. He did some agriculture in Grau. Okay? In Torah State, the reason why he went to Grau was because of the Rov. Frek the Sepurne, frek the Rambam, frek the Rabbeinu Bechaye, we know that Eretz Yisrael, the north of Eretz Yisrael, the Gilboya, the Goylon, the whole north, the Golil, Ho'elyon, even the Gola Tachtoin, was the agricultural land. If Avram is looking to get away from the drought, from the hunger that strike Beersheva, why is Avrohom not going up north? Why is he moving to the Gaza Strip? Why is Avrohom invading Grar, which is between, State Yerushalmi, Grar is between Gaza and Rafiach. It's in the middle of the Gaza Strip, right where they want to put today the border between the north and the south. That is Gro. Why is Avrohom moving to Gro? So, I don't know how many people of you today were aware of Kriyas HaTorah, but Noach has 3 sons, Shem, Chom, and Yefes. Chom has 4 children, Cush, Mitzrayim, Put, and Canaan. Those are 4 sons. Canaan is Bnei Akot. Canaan is the Ben Akot of Chom. in the gvulos that Noach, when Noach was mechalek after the Mabu, Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Canaan, it's called Eretz Canaan, Lebonov, he gave to the son Canaan basically the entire Eretz Yisrael. I would like to read the Psukim. Vahi gvula Kanaani mitzidoin, which most Rishonim learn at Tzidon, Tzoyv, Tzidon, all the way up north, northwest, all the way up, mitzidoin, boyacha groro ad azo. In other words, he's naming off 2 points on the west side of Eretz Yisrael, from the north side, from Tzidoin, till boyacha groro ad azo. Here it seems to say that Gror is somewhat north of Azo. And that's a shmur, it's machlekes Tumadom and Yerushalmi. We'll have some time later, we'll go into it. Ve'adomo tzvoim ad losha, this is taking us to the east side. This is where Canaan gets it. Canaan has 11 children. Sidon HaBechoyer, he was the Bechoyer. So Mashayla, if he has 11 children, 12 children, it's a machlekes. So B'shitas HaRamban, that he has 11 children. Sidon, Ches, Yevusi, Amoiri, Girgoshi, Chivi, Arki, Sini, Arovi, Arvodi, Tzamri, and Chamosi. Those are the 11 children. They got the Nachal of Eretz Canaan. But when we come, Avrohom Avinu and Yitzchok are coming, who do they meet in? Where do they meet? They come to haMelech, Melech Plishtim. Who is Plishtim? So let me, if anybody read the Heintige Psukim, who is Plishtim? Plishtim is Mitzrayim is another son of Chom, and it says, if I look at the Umitzrayim Yolad es Ludim ve'es Anomim ve'es Lehovim ve'es Patrusim ve'es Kasluchim asher yotzu mishom Plishtim ve'es Kaftoirim. What happens? Eretz Yisrael is given to Canaan. Noach gives it to Canaan, which is the son of Chom. Eretz Yisrael is given to Chom, not to Shem. Avrohom Avinu comes later, he wants to buy Mars Machpelah, he says, Be'emes, it was once given to Shem, but Lamaisi it's given to Chom. Chom is his son Canaan. Canaan gets Eretz Yisrael from north to south, from east to west. All of a sudden, Avrohom Avinu, not so much later, from Noach to Avrohom, by the way, Avrohom Avinu's son Noach. Avrohom Avinu was 58 years of age when Noach was nifter, at the year 2006, L'Brias Oilo. Avrohom was born in 1948, and Noach was nifter in 2006. Avrohom Avinu gave Spazieren noch after, from Beersheva, from the Rov, he comes to Plishtim, Eretz Plishtim, to Gror, and who is sitting there? Plishtim. Who is Plishtim? Plishtim is Kaftoirim. Who is Kaftoirim? Kaftoirim is Azun Fun Mitzrayim, which is, Mitzrayim is a brother of Canaan. Vukum to Sarah. The Teretzis, if you look in Chumash Dvorim, it says, Apostle Ve'avim hayoshi b'chatzerim ad azo, kaftoirim hayoitzi mikaftoir ishmidum ve'yoshvu tachto. The Ramban learns that the Avim is the Chivim. Ayin and Ches is Mischal. They were like a Nochosh. Chavyo is a Nochosh. So the Ramban says that the Avim hayoitzim, in other words, the Chiluf for Oisi has been Ches le'ayin. The Chivi, who was one of the sons of Bnei Canaan, was nichbash by his cousin Kaftoirim, who is part of Plishtim. So, Rebbe Mishpoches, and they are capturing, the Plishtim are capturing the Chevel Eretz, which is Eretz Plishtim, which is in the western side of Eretz Yisrael, southwest, and Plishtim is taking over the Eretz Canaan, they taken over from the cousin Canaan. The Kibush Ha'oretz. Now, Kibush Ha'oretz, Avrohom comes in, look at the Radak. The Radak says, Kibush Ha'oretz, look at the Ramban, in reference number 12. Va'avim hayoshi b'chatzerim ad azo yomer ka'avim hayoshi b'ari chatzerim she'en lהם choyma ad azo שהוא גבול הכנעני, כמו שנאמר ויגבול הכנעני מצידם בויח הגרור עד azo, הכפתרים שיוצאו מכפתר ישמידים ויושבים תחתו. והנה הכפתרים שמבני מצרים ואינו ממתנס מצרים, ארצו משל ישראל. מפני שהכפתרים לא קדושים מבני כנען. והכוסוב אומר על ארץ פלישתים כי לכל זרח או אתן את כל הארצות האלה. מן הטעם הזה הויו כי הארץ ההיא אויסם התחיל לבני כנען. ומפני זה הורישו ישראל בימי ישוע 15 ערי פלישתים, העזתי, האשדודי, האשקלוני, הגידי והעקרוני והאבים, שהיו כולם יויש והכנעני, גבול הכנעני בעזו, באשקלון, באשדוד ובעקרון. ועל שם מקוים הם לקרואים כי השמידו האבים שהיו בבני כנען והיושבים בגבול הכנעני מציד בויח הגרור עד עזו, ויש ותחתום. So the Ramban, that be'emes yoredarkoi, when Eretz Yisrael is given to Bnei Yisrael, they have to conquer the Gaza Strip. They have to go ahead and take the whole Eretz Plishtim. From Ashdod and Ashkelon down to Azo. And Gror is in Tzavish. Zog the Radak, look at the Radak. Rotzo Avrohom Avinu loku b'chol mokim shenitan lo nachlo, פעם בזה ופעם בזה כדי שיחזיק בכולו. וארץ פלישתים בכלל ארץ הכנעני ומנחל אז בני יהודו. The reason why Avrohom Avinu goes to Gerar from Beersheba to Gerar, because Avrohom Avinu is kvoish haderech lebanecho. We know that whatever Avrohom Avinu is going to conquer, more land, the shvil shekom im nikne be'iluch, the gmor b'basat avkuf, more says why? Because Avrohom Avinu HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, kum v'yishalech ba'oretz, hiluch is a kniya v'eretz Yisrael. So Avrohom Avinu gemacht ha'cheshben. I have a problem because I'm going to conquer Eretz Yisrael. And he was Yoshev, pam bezeh, pam bezeh. We got to move our forces from Beersheba, which is established, which is Eretz Canaan, to Eretz Plishtim. He's going to Gerar, he's going to Azo. Why is Avrohom Avinu going to Azo? Because he's saying, so the Chumen HaTzait was Pki Hashmei, that the Plishtim are the owners, and they're going to come and say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised him Eretz Canaan. He promised whatever is the land of Canaan, but not whatever is the land of the Plishtim. Lazo Plishtim. So the Ramban, and you see that in Sefer Yeshua, he tells them, Yemechuyev kinachalos bnei Yehudi, and Yehuda is mechuyev to conquer all those cities, inclusive but not limited, Aza and Gerar. So Mimela, Avrohom Avinu goes there. And why does Yitzchok go to weiter to Gerar? Meir de Kezach. Yitzchok zok der Chaim HaKodesh, ve'ulai lo echzik Avrohom be'eretz plishti b'chazok ha'rishoino, lefichoch rotz leze rotzo Hashem, שיחזיק Yitzchok ויחזיק בחזוק המעולה שחורש וזורה. The reason why Yitzchok goes to Gerar is because the Tata Yivendot just a settlement, but he never did any agriculture. So Yitzchok digs the Be'eres in order out in the Zelda Kavona that this should be part of Eretz Yisrael, Hanichbeshet, this should be part of the Eretz Yisrael. Emissary Darkoi that the Goyen says, I just want to say over a Goyen. The Goyen says that in Aderes Eliyahu, I didn't have Goyen steht as the Goyen is in three places: in Bamidbar, in Perek Chof Gimel, in Dvorim, at the end of Dvorim, and in Divrei Yomim. And I'm quoting the Goyen. The Goyen says, "Anu moinim esaumus leitim moinim shishim, leitim shivim, uleitim shivim v'shtayim." If you look at the Tanach, you see sometimes shishim umois, sometimes it's shivim umus, and sometimes it's 72 umus. Ki ayin umus shivim sevim le'eretz Yisrael, va'asoro yoshiv be'eretz Yisrael, ve'oid shnayim em Sini ve'tzidoin, u'knaan yolad et Sidoin ve'esa'arki ve'esasini, asini yoshiv al gvul doroim, ve'tzidon al gvul tzofoin, ve'em nichlolim b'toich eretz Yisrael. U'le'osi disvasvu elu beis umus al nachal os eretz Yisrael. Hasini Yoshe Bedorim, Kimoishe Kosu, he brings a posuk in Yeshaya, Eli Yavo Me'eretz Sinim, and the posuk in Sidon will also be giving in the north. Why was it taken away? Why did they lose grip of, why did they not get it? So they're going to listen to this. I'm quoting. Ono choto ha'am hazeh chato gdolo vayasu lehem lo yezov. Brings the Goyen a medrash Omer leAvrom lezaracho nasati min nahar Mitzrayim ad nahar Pas v'lo nasati lehem l'mayarden ad Azo le'osid lovoi umolo oretz deyot es Hashem kamayim liyam michosim v'yishu shivim umas. So the Goyen, the reason why we don't have a hold of the Gaza Strip is because b'da avoyin of Chet HaEgel we lost it, and le'osid lovoi we're going to get the Tzidon in the north and Gaza in the south. Yeshua gets it. They tell him to be kovish, but it's neifel. We're going to dedicate a separate shiur what is the difference in halachas between the dinim in mitzvahs atluis ba'oretz and all other dinim which are said klape Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Knan, and klape Gaza. But on the Gelin Yoneinu, Azo is Eretz Grar. Eretz Grar is Eretz Plishtim. Plishtim is conquered by the Eineklach, the kinder from Mitzrayim, from Kaftoirim, which are the kinder from Mitzrayim, taken away from Knan, which is the Ben of Ham with the Zion Amomim. Avrohom and Yitzchok like to make a re-establishment, and they go to Gror in order to settle there in the Gaza Strip. It is subordinated to Eretz Yisrael, as we'll see in the future, and it is something which is not, doesn't have all the miles of Eretz Yisrael. L'osid lovei, when it be mesuk and cheta egel, we'll get it. The same thing we lost, Ammon and Moav ve'Edom, which is Kini, Knizi, and Kadmoini, because of Chet HaMeraglim, which they can go in Aderes Elyon Divrei Yomim, and we'll get it L'osid lovei, as every state in Nevuas Yeshaya. So too we lost Gaza and Sidon ba'avoin cheta egel. L'osid lovei, the question is, when is this osid lovei? We'll get it. Until then, it has a din of Eretz Yisrael, somewhat subordinated to Eretz Yisrael. This is a hakdama to a shiur we're going to say. I'd like to say another few words. A paar Wörter von Chizuk. You know, tonight is Zayin Cheshvan. This week we're celebrating the Yortzeit of Rochel Imeinu. Yud Aleph Cheshvan is the Yortzeit of Rochel Imeinu. I'd like to say two hours about Rochel Imeinu, which would be a shtickle chizuk for the Olam, for the matzav of the Milchama that we have right now. First, I told Reb Chaim Kanievsky once, and he was Gishmechel Tanogat, the Shvatim, Shitas, Braise, the Seder Olam Rabba, and Pirkei Rab Lozer, and Rabbeinu Bechaya, all the Shvatim were born 7 months after Heroyim of 7 months. Shitas HaMedrash Ayalkut, and Shitas HaSugyas HaGmora in Rosh Hashanah, Daf Yud Aleph, steht in Gemara that Rochel was Nifkedo in Leil Rosh Hashanah, and Shitas Rashi is, she got Nisaber in Leil Rosh Hashanah. Yosef was born, steht in Rabbeinu Bechaya, B'Shem Medrash Tache, at the beginning of Sefer Shmois, Vayomas Yosef v'kol echad v'kol adoirahu, he brings down a Medrash Tache. Yosef is born with Chodesh Tammuz. It comes out that she was Beheroyan with Yosef 9 months. So if Machlekes Midrashim, if the Shvatim were Noilad L'Shiva or Noilad L'Tisha. The Maaseh from the Dudoim that he had, there was the night of Rochel, and Rochel comes and says, Ruvain is loike Dudoim basode, please give me Dudoim b'neich. Socher schartich, vayishkav ima balayla hu, and for that night is Giboron Gevon Yisocher. For selling, state in Chazal, Rashi brings it down, Lefi shezilzel lo b'mishkav hatzadik lo yizoch so li kover imoy. Rochel is mezalzelos b'mishkav hatzadik, she buys it for a shtickle perfume, for a bottle of Dudoim, nos noreach, and for that, she's not going down in history, she's buried in Beis Lechem, and Leah, who is the second, who is the subordinated wife, the Tofel, the Ikorei Shalabaysos Rochel, she's not next to her husband. And that's a oynish from Socher Yischarticho b'Dudoy Bnech. When was Yisocher born? Steht in the Zelbe Medrash Tache, Beleil Yud Aleph Be'ov. If Yisocher is born Yud Aleph Be'ov, when we go to Sugyas HaGmor Rosh Hashanah, take it 9 months earlier, is Yud Aleph Cheshvan. Comes out that the story of Dudoim Basoda Yene Nacht Vayish Kavima Balayla, who was the light of Yud Aleph Cheshvan. Comes out that the dak al dak ad ein nivdak. Moira de Kazach Megita Mensha Oynesh. Not only it's not the same year, it wasn't too much later. Rochel dies. She dies in the same night that years before she's mezalzel b'mishkav atzadik. That night of Yud Aleph Cheshvan, that she gave it up, that's the night that later on she's lo yizoch soli kovrim. Rochel gives birth, and this is a few words of Chizuk. Rochel gives birth to her son. Vayhi b'tzeis nafsho ki meisa v'chemen lo ha'meyaledes al tir'i ki gam ze lach ben. Don't worry about it. Vatikro shmoi ben oyni ve'oviv koroloi binyomi. Stell sich vor. Many times we have machlekes. a husband and a wife, Vemen get ben anum, it's a gehert to me, it's a gehert to dir, doesn't belong to me, doesn't belong to you, it's my turn, it's your turn. In unfortunate circumstances, in the tragedy of a mother who gives birth and dying during childbirth, she's not going to be there for the bris, forget about the bris, she's not going to be there to feed her own child one night. Rachel Zimein is Yortzat is Yudal of Cheshben, and it's Binyamin's birthday Yudal of Cheshben. She died boy bayoim betvayi betzeis nafsha kimes. Vos Betsy de Mame, what is she asking for? She's begging, let me give the name, Ben Oini. Kommt again Yankev, Bechira Ovis. Vayav, Yaakov is Rochel, if you would see what the Goyen writes about in Shir Hashir, about the Hava from Yaakov and Rochel, nicht masik zu sein. It's not in our capacity to understand what is this love. But your wife is on a deathbed, and all she's asking, please bestow upon me this minimal courtesy of calling my little baby his name. Kommt again Yaakov, Gita Klapa von Tish name. Sorry, the name is not Ben Oini, the name is going to be Binyamin. Alei Davaru. I think she stayed on my Kavod. Ben Oini, sagt Rashi, Ben Tsari, Ben Evli, lo yochalti be Oini mimenu. The Loshen Oin is Beloshen Aninus. She says, Ben Tsari, Ben Evli. He's a son of my mourning, a son of my Aninus, a son of my Avelus. The Oviv Korle Binyamin says the Ramban, not that Yankev went and took away the name and gave a totally different name, Mein Seide from Nickelsberg. The Ramban says that the Loshen Oin has another dual definition in Loshen HaKodesh. Reshis Oini is the Choizek, the Oin is the Koyach, is the Choizek. Zog the Ramban, the Tzad Yomin of a person is Boy HaGvura, Boy HaTzlocha. He says, Ben Yo, I'm asking Ben Oini, but let me give it a little twist, a little interpretation. Not your meaning of Oini Aninus, but my meaning of Oini, you mean Koyach Gvuro, you mean Koyach Hatzlocha. And the reason for that being is that giving a name to Shiftei Ko, we know later on we find the Sugyas Agmor in Soiten, Avnei Achoshen, Yosef, Yehoshua, Azel Choisias, Nisker, every ois, every iota written on the Choshen is the Shemus of the Shvotim, mit alle Pitchivkes, jeder Kutza Shel Yud. Rachel was perpetuating the Zeitweilendike tragedy that she had. She's a mother, and she's perpetuating the death. She said, let's call him after Ben Evli Ben Tsari. Zokt Yankev, excuse me with all due courtesy, and I feel for you. But tragedies is a Zeitweilig. It's Gimel, Lepchi, Zayin, Lemispet, Shleishim, La'avelus, Gzero, Min Ameishem, Ishtakach, Min Alev, La'acha, Yud, Beis Chodesh. It's gone. After 12 months, it's gone. You can't. You cannot give a name to Klal Yisrael Shiftei Ko after a Zeitweilig, a very temporary tragedy that's happening now. I'll take your name. I'm just going to give it a little twist. You see the Avelus. You see the Aninus. I see the Yamin. I see the Koyach. I see the Gvura. I see the Atzlach. We're in a tragedy now, and nobody sees the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a Zeit for Milchama. It's a Shveret Kufa for each and every one. Somebody told me, I spoke to Eretz Yisrael 3 days ago. Guy told me that he went around, he says, Kimat ein bayis, there's no mishpacha that doesn't have somebody out there. There's 4,500 psuim, 1,500 arugim, the people missing. There's 200 plus people in war, there's 100 and some missing. Amongst this nearly 8,000 mishpachas, everybody either has a mishpach or knows somebody, it's his cousin, it's his friend. Ein bayis asher ein bay meis. And we're here, everybody's trying to help, or Hashem, there's a gewaldige unity, a gewaldige achdus, but we cannot perpetuate tragedies. We have to always look at Ben Yomin and Ben HaKoyach. This is the heintige Wochs Yortzeit von unserer Mame Rochel. Yankev hat uns ausgelernt. He teaches us. Ben Oini, Ben Choizek, Ben Gvura, Ben Atzlocha. And in every cloud, we have to see the silver lining. In every tragedy, it takes a scope, a look. It's not easy to comprehend and to see, but we cannot perpetuate tragedies. Our tafkid is to be marbe b'teire, to be marbe b'tfila, to have them all in zin, to have each and every one of our brothers in. And the Eibishter soll helfen, the Taka sein, ben yomin, ki boya gvuro, ki boya atzlacha.